Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a time in which the ranks of Bnei Torah are growing by leaps and bounds. Young individuals never thought that they would see the inside of yeshiva are now accomplished Talmidei Chachamim, helping ensure the survival of the Jewish people. Not since the times of the great yeshivas in Spain and France, during the times of the Rishonim, has been seen such a flourishing of Torah, nor yeshivas such as Medrash Gavaya and its counterpart, the Mir Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, Torah V'das, and other yeshivas, Ner Yisrael, Baltimore. All of these yeshivas have contributed to the tremendous growth of Torah in America. Lakewood itself is now home to 7,000 Talmidim, completely dedicating their lives to the full-day study of Torah. As in every generation, there are those who have not had the chance to appreciate the beauty of Torah, but we always hope that the voice of Torah will reach their hearts and inspire them to connect them to our ancient heritage. This incredible change in the landscape of American Torah Jewry is in no small way directly related to the efforts of Rabbi Kotler, President and CEO of Lakewood Yeshiva, who considers Lakewood as an anchor to his true responsibility, ensuring the continuity of the Jewish people through Torah. Working as the executive arm of the Rosh Yeshiva Shlita, he has helped bring the great voice of Torah to so many young families of our generation. We appreciate the personal interest that he took in helping establish an institution, Kollel Ner Hamizrach, which was founded with the backing of Lakewood Yeshiva. I'm aware that 900 miles north of here, there's a famous speech going on right now, known as the State of Union address. That speech will focus on Malchusa Da'ara, matters of state. We asked Rabbi Kotler to speak just for 2 minutes on matters of spirit, Malchusa Da'Rakia.
I will be brief, or we will be stuck here overnight. We're fortunate to have the great Rosh Yeshiva, Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky, with us, and my brother, the great Rosh Yeshiva, Reb Malkiel. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize that here in Kollel Ner Hamizrach and in Atlanta, there are 3 additional Gedolim who have had a profound impact on the development of Yiddishkeit in this city. Rav Ruderman Zatzal, Rav Yaakov Weinberg Zatzal, and Rabbi Neuberger Zatzal, who had such a profound impact on the formation of the leadership of this city in every way. We owe them a tremendous debt of Akar Satayv. I personally have had the benefit, when I was teaching at Aish, Rav Yaakov Weinberg used to come every summer. We would get him unfettered for 2 weeks. We would save up questions all year, and he would answer them. I would ask the same questions to Rav Noach Weinberg, and it was an incredible experience for us each summer to have the benefit of his great chachma. And of course, Rabbi Neuberger, who was the role model for the nuts and bolts building of Torah in America in every way, the Askin par excellence, who understood exactly what it means to build a great yeshiva, and who in many ways I consider to be my role model, as do so many others. I want to close the evening first with a recognition that I think the greatest Mesiras Nefesh that is found in any kollel is in the Neshei HaKollel, the wives of the Yungelite. And I think the reason is simple. There's a famous story of my grandfather, a Baron, when he escaped from Europe. They were literally grabbed the last train out before the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, rolled in. And the train was so packed with people that they couldn't get him in the door. And to stay meant the potential of not surviving. So the Talmidim who were already on the train and the Talmidim who were outside the train, they lifted him up and they dragged him in through the window of the train, literally what I think it's called today in English, body surfing. They body surfed him above the people, and they got him onto the train. And as the train was moving, before he hit the ground, he had already opened his Gemara and he started to learn. And I think the aspiration of every Ben Torah is to absorb himself in his learning and his teaching in such an all-encompassing way that he really doesn't know where he is. So there's a famous story with Rav Shach that he came home and he had his arm like this, and his grandchild asked him, Zayda, what happened to your arm? And he looked at his arm and said, oh, I had bought a watermelon in the supermarket and I lost it. So there's another story to say of Rav Shach that he was walking on the street and he realized he didn't know where his house was. So he goes over to a child and he says, he isn't embarrassed to say, where do I live? It sounds like Lo Yaleinu, you know. So he says to the child, excuse me, do you know where Rav Shach lives? And the child says, yes, Zaidi, I'll show you right here. So I think the aspiration of a Ben Torah, whether he's in Ner Yisrael or he's in Lakewood, he's in Atlanta, he's getting into it. He's throwing himself into the learning in such a way that, in a sense, he's in Malchusa de Rakia. And the Neshei HaKollel, they're the ones who keep things going, who keep the household going, and in every way support that effort so that the Torah that spreads to every nook and cranny of Atlanta and will spread is in their zchus. I want to share one more impression. And the Ashkenazim here should please forgive me, but I am about 94% Ashkenazi, so what I say applies to me too. But I think that Ashkenazi Jewry suffered tremendously from the Enlightenment, from Catholics, from Presbyterians. Down here you probably have more Baptists, so not so much from them. But what they used to call the Kollel Litvak, I don't know if anybody ever heard that term. If not, Rabbi Cohen will explain it later. But that sense of the Kollel Litvak, the sense that you could approach Yiddishkeit without this all-embracing Hislavus, without this all-embracing energy, in some ways became what is seen as the external character trait of Ashkenazi Jewry. The Rosh Hashiva and I, we travel to Mexico City all the time. And when we go there, we sit in the shul, whether in Mexico City, in Cuernavaca, the various shuls, and we see the ne'imus, the sweetness with which the Sephardic community davens. We see the emunas chachamim that every Yid has, young and old. We see the love of Torah. We see that sense of emunah, and we get a glimpse of what it means to be a true Jew prior to the ravages of Esav and the ravages of the Enlightenment. And I think that Atlanta is so fortunate to have an Ashkenazi Kehillah and a Sephardic Kehillah across the street from each other, bonded together as one Klal Yisrael, sharing with each other and lending strength to each other, and now together building Torah for the entire Jewish community of Atlanta. I want to wish you all nothing but Hatzlacha.
Thank you for joining me this evening.